It's been a busy, crazy week for me. I felt really down this week, but as usual, I am like the sunny side of method of making eggs. What does that mean? I'm quite optimistic, and I'm quite just happy-go-lucky and fairy tale like in my imaginations of how I think my life is going to turn out. So I'm pressing through this week with that in mind. And while I was going through my week, I had this urge to call certain people and just start to go on and on about what it is I'm going through. Don't forget, I'm in a new country. I moved to Canada less than 4 months ago. So I'm still new. I'm still trying to get to myself and trying to settle with my family. And it can be quite a lot. So I had that note to just pick up my phone and call and just be like, and just go on and on and on and on about what's going on in my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to come and talk about it on For Healing Girls. This is something I struggle with, and I know you struggle with as well. And what is that? Oversharing. Oversharing. I can be quite a vulnerable person. Not that I can be quite. I am actually a vulnerable person. I'm quite vulnerable and sensitive. And there was a time in my life that I thought that vulnerability and sensitivity was not good. Like it's not a good trait about mission. But then I realized that vulnerability and sensitivity with intentionality, that sounds like a preacher, is actually a good thing. So we're talking about the urge to overshare. You may think you're being transparent when you call up people and tell them what's going on in your life, and you overshare and tell them things, and then you feel guilty afterwards. But sometimes it's not healing to do so. Rather, you're exposing yourself, you're exposing your family, you're exposing your emotions, and I call it an emotional spill. You know what an oil spill look like? Now that is an emotional spill. It's all over the place. All over the place, and you don't want that. You don't need that. So if that's something you're interested in talking about today, then let's ease right into it. Get something to hydrate yourself, get your journal, because we're going to have reflections and let's go. Hello, welcome back to the For Healing Girls YouTube channel. My name is Omolola, and welcome to the safe space on Obasanjo's internet where we breathe, we reflect and heal, and we talk about things that matter as it pertains life, faith, and the inner work that leads to true peace, calm, and lasting success. Now, who doesn't want that? I want that, and that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm talking to you about what I have learned in my experience. If I do say so myself, I believe that I have gone through quite a number of experiences in my life, and finally, I have been able to stand tall because I was given the opportunity to be exposed to certain books, to certain people, and to certain mentality that gave me a mind shift. And yes, I am on my path to becoming a licensed therapist. I'm not there yet, but I believe that my experience can be of some help to someone. Prayerfully, I hope it is of some help to you. So, oversharing and vulnerability. Let's talk about it. You know that moment when you tell someone more than you intended to tell them, and then immediately you hear that little voice in your head or in your mind or even in your ear. You hear the Holy Spirit say, "Ha, I didn't send you work." I didn't send you work. You were not supposed to tell her that. You're not supposed to tell him that. You're not supposed to tell them that. You're not supposed to write that. You're not supposed to go on Instagram Live and say that. That gentle conviction that says that wasn't necessary. I felt it a lot of times. A lot of times. There was a time I was speaking to someone and then she was oversharing because I know that we are not close like that. And whatever she was telling me, she was going to regret later because we're not close like that. Or rather, I felt that on her behalf. I might have been wrong. But she was oversharing. And I felt because she was oversharing, then I should overshare as well. Have you been in that situation where you feel like, okay, this person is oversharing? So to cover up their own oversharing and not to make them feel bad, I am going to overshare as well. So there was just so much emotion spilling all over the room that day. And I'm like, oh, yes, me too. We kept oversharing and we felt we were bonding. I don't like the word trauma bonding, but yeah, it felt more of like trauma bonding. And at the end of the conversation, on my way back to my place, I heard the voice say, ah, there is trouble ahead because of everything you've told that lady today. But guess what? There is also victory and there is also lessons to be learned from it. So don't be afraid. There's trouble, but you're going to be fine. And I remember getting a bit scared and I was like, ha, everything I told this person was true. Everything I told this person was real. It happened to me, but maybe I shouldn't have. So I drove home, and a few months later, indeed, trouble came knocking because I overshared. So, oversharing is when you reveal intimate or sensitive details to someone or a group without discernment, without preparation, without safety. And let's be honest, it can feel good in the moment. As I said with the lady, when she said her own, I say my own, it felt good. It felt like, oh, I'm seeing somebody is seeing me, somebody is feeling me, somebody is seeing how real my emotions and hearts or whatever it is. But then comes that uncomfortable aftertaste of regret, of shame, and of overexposure. You feel bare, like you feel like you practically undressed in front of this person and you weren't supposed to do so. So oversharing is often confused with vulnerability, but let's make it clear. Vulnerability is intentional and oversharing is impulsive. If you forget or remember, if you remember anything rather from this video, I want you to remember that oversharing is impulsive and vulnerability is intentional. Now, what does intentionality look like as regards vulnerability? When I went through this crazy week I told you about, another thing I decided to do was okay, I have a group of people who are safe, who I can call and say, see what has been happening with me, and I really feel down. I can rehearse what I'm going to tell them, how I'm going to say it to them, and I'm not afraid of judgment. I must not even rehearse. I'm just saying that I think I'm using the word rehearse to rehearse it when I mean you can make an intention and say, I'm going to call this person. Of course, when you have good friends and good family, you don't have to start to rehearse what you're going to say to them when you're going through a tough time. So, in my vulnerability, I could call any of this safe group of people. But imagine one random person I've not spoken to in a while calls me up and is like, oh, I heard you left the country. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I left the country. And in fact, this is what has happened to my husband and I, blah, 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 blah. That's impulsive. It was not intentional. I did not have the intentions to tell that person whatever information I told the person. And that's what oversharing is. It's impulsive. There was no plan whatsoever to tell that person what you told them. So vulnerability happens in safe spaces. It happens with safe people. Oversharing happens in public or even in private with the wrong people, with people who are not emotionally safe for us. And is often rooted in a need for validation and connection. Sometimes you're rushing friendships because you met this person and you feel like, oh, me and this person can be friends, and instead of getting to know the person, instead of allowing this person to reveal themselves to you, instead of you revealing yourself to them, instead of they revealing themselves to you, over time you decide to start oversharing in the moment, and that's where you're getting it wrong. When you want to be friends with people, one of the bad routes to go is to start oversharing with them the moment you just met with them. It's not going to end well. You don't want to start a friendship that way. So let's talk about the spiritual side of oversharing and vulnerability. When you're working with God, you need to learn to listen when He says, not yet, not here, and not to them. Like sometimes I'm speaking and immediately I hear it, not here, Lola. Not right now, not yet, and not to them. Zip it. Some things are meant to be shared later with wisdom. Some are meant to be kept between you and God, you and your journal, you and your spouse, you and yourself. You don't want to share from a place of hurt and shame. Yeah, but you need to also understand that when the Holy Spirit, when that voice tells you that, hey, you're oversharing, it's not to shame you, but it's to gently invite you into a sense of maturity. I've said it in my videos that one of the ways I was able to hop on the is it a ladder now or a bridge? I think I would prefer the image of a bridge. I was able to start to walk on that bridge or on that path of maturity was when I started to actively speak to God about my emotions, everything I was feeling, everything that helped me to stop oversharing as well. Just that ability to just go to God in prayer about my emotions, not just every day talking about my career, abundance, safety, but also like, this is the way I'm feeling. I don't even know why I'm feeling this way. Can you help me? Can you give me clarity to understand why I feel the way I feel? So God is nudging you and inviting you to a place of maturity, of spiritual maturity, when He nudges you to sip it up and not keep oversharing your life and everything going on with you to people who are not safe. So even Jesus, after healing people, will often tell them, tell no one. Why was he saying tell no one? Because timing matters, discernment matters. There's power in healing quietly. And after he tells those people, don't tell anybody, some of them still went ahead and screamed it over the top of their heads because, hey, even if it was me, I will. I'm like, oh my God, I've been lame all my life and now I'm healed and now I'm telling the whole world. But if you realize he didn't mean tell no one forever because it's in the Bible now. There's time to share what it is that you have gone through. And sometimes it's not that time that you're going through that stuff that it is time to share it. So, what's the balance? How can you practice openness with boundaries? And what does this mean? Am I saying we should not share with people at all? Of course not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying openness is still important. Transparent, when you're transparent, it creates connection with people. It can deepen a relationship that you already have. When you're transparent, it helps others feel less alone because sometimes your friend might have been thinking of how to intentionally be vulnerable with you about a particular subject. And because you were vulnerable about that particular subject, she will feel more at ease speaking to you about it. So there's a place for openness. But here's the truth, we must learn to share from a scar and not a wound. What does that mean? When you speak from a place of pain that's still raw, that's still there, you're not testifying to what has happened. It's sort of like trauma on display. Think about it. But when you've walked with God through whatever happened, and wisdom and healing has sort of settled in, then you can talk about it with people. And when you talk to them about it, when you talk with your safe people about it, it's not going to be from a place of bleeding. You're not bleeding out on them, rather, you're blessing them. You can even talk to others about it so they could learn from whatever happened if there are some lessons in there. So, what's the key to openness with boundaries? What's the key when you feel like you're about to overshare? Number one, check your motives. Why am I sharing this? Is this going to help this person? Is this going to help me? Am I going to leave this conversation feeling undone? Number two, ask God, is it time to speak or time to stay quiet? Number three, know your audience. Is this a safe person? Is this a safe space? Or is this just a curious person that is going to take your words and change things you said and cause wahala or trouble for you? Let's think about these three things. So I started to do these mini reflections where I'm on the phone with someone, because most of my conversations with a lot of people who are family and friends are mostly done through the phone these days. And while I'm speaking with them, I am able to reflect. I call it mini reflections, and just ask myself, is this conversation, do you feel safe having it with this person? Do you feel safe telling this person what you're about to tell them? And oftentimes, it's not as slow as I'm saying it now, it happens really quickly. Oftentimes, I get a nudging telling me, no, don't tell this person this, or yes, go ahead and tell this person this. And the more you have this mini Q&As with yourself while even speaking to people physically or virtually, it will help your discernment to get sharper, and it will help you to stay intentional when you're talking to people about things happening in your life. Because of oversharing feels really, really shameful at times, and you just feel really guilty that why on earth did I even tell this person what I told them. The journaling prompts for this video that I want us to take a moment to reflect on is, what's one area I have been oversharing that I need to take back to God? And then number two, am I sharing to heal, or sharing because I want attention or validation? Why are you sharing? What do you think is going to be the outcome of sharing what you have ended up sharing with this person? So journal about that, and let me know in the comments what you think about oversharing. Have you overshared before? Did it leave that sour taste in your mouth? Whatever the case, I want you to understand that healing doesn't always need an audience. Some of your biggest breakthrough will happen in quiet, in prayer, in journaling, with no one watching but God. Sometimes you go through some things and you don't even know how to start to gist or explain it to someone else. The affirmation for this video is, I do not need to overshare to be seen, known, or loved. My story is sacred, and I share only what aligns with my growth, not my pain. I am safe with God, and that is enough. Until next time, heal well, stay wise, protect your peace, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.